our approach to merchandising, if that is what you're asking me, is one of timeless value.
Right.
Now, you hear that phrase a lot. Truly, we have a collection of pieces in this store, a collection of fashion, but it's really more of a psychology of dress than anything else.
Okay.
Every one of these pieces in this store today, there's not one that you could find that hasn't been here at least since the 30s. Now, wow, perfect timing, because I think vintage is the trend today. But the point I'm trying to make is it's got some staying power. There's an appreciation to the aesthetic value of this, where today it's more about the way you wear something than what you wear.
Okay. Dive into that for me. Tell me about, just obviously you have a passion, some might call it an obsession, about clothing and being a clothier and the way that you dress people, and everybody's different. And you just mentioned the word psychology as well. Where does that come from? Where do you learn about it? I mean, obviously you've been in it for a long time, but there's books everywhere, as well. So, are you going home at night researching, jumping on the internet, looking at styles, trends, fashion? Like, where's that love of it?
Yeah, I don't do as much of that today. I can name a couple. Well, first of all, I'm going to go back to my mentor, Harold Powell.
Okay.
I've listened to Harold lecture time and time and time again. So it is now ingrained the way you ought to dress.
Yeah.
There are two books. Alan Flusser's first edition and his second edition are comprehensive and extraordinarily well written. Today, fast forward to today, the only thing out there today that I think is worthy, as a matter of fact, Alan Flusser even endorsed it, and that is ivy-league.com.
Okay.
Writes a certain number of blogs that are really, really interesting. So I keep talking about this Ivy League notion, and Ivy League really sounds old. It's not old. It's really kind of a social phenomenon that for centuries, decades, has not changed, and that is simply this: 90% of the population is intrigued and typically embraces what 10% has. Okay, so whether it be British royalty, going all the way back to the 20s, which really, you could argue, introduced this. Some people argue it was actually 1895 Brooks Brothers, but I would prefer to think it was the Prince of Wales that did this. There was a reluctant acceptance to a few pieces. And those pieces were worn in creative fashion by the individuals. They happened to be students in the Ivy League school.
Okay.
And so who were those students? Those students were American royalty. They were the next titans of industry. And at that time, America took notice. Now, they could have been Hollywood, could have been politicians, whomever they were. That was our cue of how to dress. And that lasted all the way up until the 60s. Remember another renaissance in the 80s with preppy, kind of a wussy sort of way of talking about it, but nevertheless, that's what it was. So anyway, that's this clothing. That has not changed. I would insist to you that will never change. It is never dressing up, but always dressing well. It is simply changing what others might consider as an older style with a current relative way of wearing it.